It's been said that in a particular area of the swamp down south, you can hear a Dobro playing a woeful song. Well, I heard it myself one day, and of course I wanted to find out more. I never saw anyone playing that Dobro, but I did some research. And I found out from one of the locals that a military man born in Mississippi moved to this area of the country after spending some time fighting in World War II. Everybody called him Old Jet. Well, they say Old Jet liked to go down and sit right there on a fallen tree in the mud wearing his pork pie hat just a few feet from where alligators had been seen many a time. Some even claimed crocodiles would peek out of the muddy swamp water at given times. Old Jet said those people didn't know the difference in crocs and gators. He said he'd never seen a crocodile in that swamp, but it should be noted that the American crocodile is shy and timid when compared to its African and Australian counterparts. Anyway, as the story goes, Old Jet went down to immerse himself in nature one day like he always did with his Dobro and his pork pie hat, but he never came out of the swamp. Days later, a skin collector was out hunting alligators when he saw a bent-up metal disc of some sort. He didn't think much of it, but later all the locals agreed that it was part of Old Jet's Dobro. Must have been the resonator. Some of his friends would go down day after day, night after night, looking for Old Jet, looking for anything that let them know if he was okay or if something terrible had happened. On the fourth day, the town's produce salesman was out there, and he found a pork pie hat, just like the one Old Jet wore. In the following weeks, Old Jet's friends visited the swamp, careful not to stand too close to the water, afraid of a gator jumping up and eating them just as they'd figured one had done to Old Jet. But every night that they were down there, they swore they could hear someone playing the blues on a Dobro. It was faint, but they could hear it. It always started about 3 hours before midnight. So learning this information, I went back one night, 2100 hours, 9 p.m., 3 hours before midnight. As soon as I heard Old Jet's song, I listened for a little while. Then I said, "Old Jet, can you talk to me?" The music kept playing. I walked a little closer to the fallen tree in the mud that Old Jet had sat on many a time. And I called out again, "Old Jet, can you talk to me?" His music abruptly stopped. And once again I said, "Old Jet?" And right then, I thought I heard a voice. So after hearing that voice, I stood there, kind of paralyzed a little bit. And then I heard something in the water, and I looked to my left, and a big old reptile had jumped up out of the water with its mouth open wide. The height of the inside of this thing's mouth was taller than me, so you know what I did? I did exactly what that voice just told me to do. I ran, and I ran and ran and ran. Well, as soon as I had gotten to safety and calmed down a little bit, I figured I'd go back, against my better judgment. The next night I went back down to the swamp. I went back down to that fallen tree in the mud. No sign of this big reptile except for something it left behind. Maybe I should say something it didn't leave behind. And that was part of the tree. The old tree that had fallen in the mud there by the swamp had a big bite taken out of it. Now, I don't know if what I saw was an alligator. I know the American alligator has been said to reach 19 feet in length, but I think this thing was bigger than 19 feet in length. I'm not even sure it was an alligator. I'm not sure it was a crocodile. All I know is it was one big reptile, and I hope I never have to face it again. But Old Jet's song still plays, night after night, beginning at 3 hours before midnight, ending when this big reptile jumps up out of the water.